Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Creative Women Wanted podcast. I am your host, Diamond Williamson. I am also a director and the chief of creative production and development at 31 Production House, where we tell Black women stories. How do we tell Black women stories? We tell Black women stories in the form of docs, documentary series, and unscripted formats. I love what we do so much. And I'm such a lover of Black women's stories that I created this podcast where we can now tell the stories of the Black women who are telling stories, right? So for the Black women in television. And here we talk about spirituality, we talk about books, we talk about creativity, wellness, community, and what else do we talk about? What's the W word? Work. We talk about work. But thank you so much for joining and for listening. I'm really excited about today's episode because we're talking to Tasha McCaskiel. She is the founder of Black Women in Media. She is also the editorial strategist at HBO Max. And Black Girls in Media is a networking organization committed to supporting and uplifting minority women in the media industry. She is doing her thing. And if you are a Black woman who is looking for a job or who's looking for a community in media, you got to get tapped into Black Girls in Media, which is at Black Girls in Media on Instagram. I'm really excited about our conversation. We're talking about community. We're talking about expanding our network. We're talking about love. We're talking about so many different things, finding a job, how to create authentic connections. So please enjoy this interview with Tasha McCaskiel. Okay, Tasha, I'm so excited to have you on today's podcast.
I'm super excited to be here.
So Tasha and I met in it was either 2018 or I think it was 2019. We were working, you were working for Blavity at the time, and I was volunteering with Blavity at the time for Summit 21. And you was working, girl. You was working.
Yeah, I was trying, girl. I was out here getting it for sure.
And I think you've started Black Girls in Media since then. But I wanna start with community. It's something that I've been really adamant about and trying to be intentional in creating. So how impactful has community been to your professional journey? And speak to first, I'm sorry, Black Girls in Media, right? And how that community has helped.
Yeah, of course. So I will say when you think of Black girls in media, like the number one thing is community. So much of a community that I started it off just to be a community, nothing else. It wasn't until later that's when I decided to structure it and figure out like how to grow it. But yeah, it's all a community because um, we are women who are alike. We are women who have the same purpose. And that is just really the goal of Black Girls in Media. And it's funny because I was having a conversation with a business owner yesterday who was really consumer focused first. And now she's trying to go to community because she's realizing how community is so important. So it's funny how, we started off on different ends of the spectrum. But yeah, so like, to answer your question, when it comes to community, that is Black Girls in Media. And I'm excited to be here to share more of my story and Black Girls in Media and all that.
No, I love it, and I'm excited too. I got to experience the community in person at your event. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm really thankful. So you've lived in New York, Atlanta, North Carolina, and I know they all have different vibes. How has moving around or location affected your creative energy at all? And can you talk a little bit about how those have impacted you and led you to, where you are with Black Girls in Media?
Yeah, definitely. So I have family in Atlanta. I've never actually lived in Atlanta, but I lived I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. And then I went to college. I went to A&T, Aggie Pride, in Greensboro, North Carolina. So it was like an hour and a half out. And then after A&T, I went back home to Charlotte for a little, and then I just, Charlotte is great. That's home. But when it comes to entertainment, it's not where you want to be. Charlotte is very focused on finance and banking, all that. So I knew that I needed to leave in order to be in the entertainment media space. And so when I was at A&T, I was on the dance team and I performed at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. First time going to New York, loved it. So once I graduated, I was like, I need to get back there. So I applied to NYU. That was literally the only school that I applied to, and I got in, thankfully. So I lived in New York for 2 years, and that's where I did, the bulk of my media internships and fell in love with just like the grind and the media journey. And then after that, I was like, okay, now I want to go to LA because, New York was great, but I was just, it was a lot for me as far as like living, the subway. I was like, that's when I really started getting like bad anxiety and
Mm.
things like that. So I was like, for my mental health, I think I need to go elsewhere. So then now I'm in LA and it's been great. So I think that moving around, I'm such a advocate for moving if that's what you or somebody listening to this is like wondering if they should do. I think that we grow the most when we're uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
So
I
yeah.
can I can absolutely attest to that being that I just moved here and
Yeah.
it is I've heard that the first year in Los Angeles is tough and I feel like I'm
Mhm.
experiencing that for sure. So you're also full-time at
Yes.
HBO Max.
Right.
How do you balance the 2, right? Because like, I think about me being full-time entrepreneur, and that's enough. So for you to be running an organization and being full-time at HBO Max, what
Mhm.
is that like for you and your mental health, your spirituality, your physical health?
Yes. So I just saw this Tracy Ellis Ross video and I posted it and she said she recover I think she said recovers, something like that, recovers or rests a lot because she gives a lot. So that is really how I get through. Like on the weekends, I try to be off my phone as much as possible. And I just try to use that time to rejuvenate. And I don't want work, like I love the work that I do and life is great, but I don't want work to be everything. Like I still want today, I still want to, enjoy my friends. So I think that I really make it a mission of mine to have that balance. And then when it comes to work balance, I really just stick to a schedule. I make sure that I'm super organized. And I make sure that I just everything is running smoothly. Like I delegate. That's something else I learned with my business. So I've built a team and I make sure that I don't have to be inside Black Girls Media all the time when it comes to operating, so that way I can focus and perform well at HBO. So that's really it was a learning process, and I'm still perfecting it. But for the most part, I feel good. I don't feel burnt out or
I
anything.
love that.
So
I
thank
mean, I
you.
think that's like I almost feel like that's I don't wanna say rare, but I think it's really special, right? That you don't
Mm,
feel burnt out because I think in
yeah.
the world that we live in today, it's really easy to feel burnt out. So I'm curious because this is something I've
Mhm,
dealt with, like, there was times early on in my entrepreneurial journey where I felt guilty about rest, right?
mhm.
Have you ever felt guilt about rest, or has it always been a part of, who you are?
Yeah, no, all the time, really. I feel guilty about rest. I was actually burnt out I would say when this year first started because I didn't have a new team. So I was doing a lot of things on my own and I was super burnt out. And then once I got my team, I said, okay, good. That was the solution.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah. And when it comes to getting rest, like I really sleep. Like and I think that when we realize that life is okay, even if we're not on our phones 24/7, like when I sleep, I put my phone on D&D. I sleep in, I make sure I'm getting a good amount of rest because guess what? When you wake up, like nothing, like they say in school, like you're not performing heart surgery and things like that. So, if I wake up and I miss, like I'm late posting something on social media or like, that those kind of things like don't really matter.
Right.
So what does matter is, our family, our health. Well, I guess what matters to you is different, but
Right.
our values, as long as my family is good, my health, finances, like anything else can really wait, you know?
I love that, and I agree. I think that's something I'm learning in my older age is just like
Yeah.
everything's gonna be fine, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I got one life, I trust myself to do the things that I need to do so I can I need to rest. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So, all right, I have my questions in a certain order, but I want to
Mhm.
move forward to I really wanna talk more about Black girls in media, right? So, can
Mhm.
you tell the audience a little bit more about what you all are up to today?
Yes. So we still have the membership and community. That's where all the good things happen as far as like daily chatting, advice, opportunities. We give that inside the membership. And then also we do monthly events. So like multiple monthly virtual events. And then also we do in-person events. So we had, Diamond on our panel. It was great for Women's Month, an event we had in LA a few weeks ago. So our members are all over. So I definitely make sure that I hit everywhere every year. So last year we did an in-person conference in Atlanta. Um, so we're doing everything. We have a podcast that is, I need to bring it back, but we have a podcast where we interview women in the media space. We have a YouTube, just all that. What else? We also have a job bank on our website. So go there if you're searching for a media opportunity. If your job, company, or yourself is hiring, you can go on the website to hire from our community. And yes, definitely doing all the things when it comes to just uplifting and giving opportunities to our audience. Like I have a goal to hire 500 women this year. We are at number 4, so that's exciting already.
Yes, yes. I wanna ask,
Uh-huh.
why is helping Black women find jobs in media really important to you? And, like, why create a community out of it?
Yeah, it's so important to me because you know how they say like you create a business that you want to see.
Mhm.
Like I think that's really my goal. Like when I started off, like I didn't it was hard for me to start off to get an opportunity, a full time at that. And then when I did, even my internships in New York at like Comedy Central, VH1, I was often the only black girl. And it's just like
Mm.
that doesn't make sense to me at
Right,
all.
right.
So I'm really, I feel like it's just my life purpose, and I make it my mission to get women in these doors. Whatever life that you want, you can create it. And so if I could be that liaison to help you get there, then I've done my job.
What would you say is, like, a secret tip or trick that you feel like not a lot of us know about finding jobs in media specifically?
I think a lot of people don't know that like whatever you want, you can have. Like, and because it sounds cliche, but really, like I was just talking to a friend yesterday, and they were telling me how they got started and how they literally slid in DMs and asked people, like, do you need help with anything? I love to assist. I love to. So like, just really don't lose the art of being hungry and
Mhm.
realizing that if you want it, you can have it for sure.
I love that. I feel like it's a spiritual process to find a job. Like, it takes a lot of, like,
Hmm.
spiritual grounding.
Hmm.
Do you have advice for the women when they're in the midst of finding a job? Because I feel like finding a job is a job in itself, right? So if you have a job
Hmm.
and you're trying to find a job, you're working overtime, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where spiritual practices could be really important. Do
Yeah.
you have any advice for women or any encouragement for women in the midst of trying to find a job?
Yeah, I think a lot of practices are intertwined. So I like to relate dating and job searching and just the dating life and job life similar. So for example, when you're dating, and I can speak for myself, like I feel like we should not entertain somebody that we can't see ourselves with. Um, Only entertain, who you want, what kind of person you want, right? And so I also have the same approach when it comes to jobs. Even schools, like I think that's just me in life. Like NYU, like that was the only school I wanted to go to, so that was the only school I applied to. Jobs, it's like I only want to work in entertainment the industry, and then I know my mom, or parents they were brought up a different way. So I know, like, starting off, my mom was like, it doesn't matter, just get a job. Like, and I was even dating someone at the time that was like, you're not gonna always get what you want, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And it's like, yes, I
Absolutely, like,
will.
absolutely.
And so that's what I did. Like, I only, and I recommend people, you write out what you really want, even if, just like dating, write out what kind of person you really want and be specific in it. Like, be specific in the job title, research the job title, know what it's called, and then only apply to the companies that you like. And see what that gets you. You know, you might have to broaden that search if you're not getting any answers, but don't veer off on something that you don't really want.
Right. I love that, and I feel like it takes a lot of faith to believe that, right? And I
Right.
remember talking to my therapist, and I'm like, "I feel like I need more faith." And she's like,
Mm,
sometimes faith is just taking the next step, right? Like it's just taking step. There's nothing more that you need. It's just more
yeah,
that you need to do, which is just taking the next step. So I love that. I feel like that requires a lot of faith, but
tons of
all
faith.
you need is all you need is the faith of the size of a mustard seed, right? So no, I
Yes.
love that. I think that's really great career advice. Um, when it comes to Black girls in media, what are you
Mhm.
excited about?
I'm excited about the like, partnership opportunities. Like, we already partner with some companies to help them hire from, like, our job board, but I'm excited for, like, long-term partnerships and just opportunities, partnered events. So that's one thing. I'm excited to grow our community because, we're like 80,000 strong on social, but the world is huge. So there's so many people that still don't know about us and what we do.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really what just keeps me going, even in life. Like, transparently, this week, I wanted to give up, like, not on life, but like, I was
Mm,
just like, not really feeling it.
love that. That
But
you're sharing
those, yes, of course. But when you get like one email or like, and those are signs of faith too. I think
that.
that's God reminding us, like, don't give up. Like, something's on the horizon. So that is the hope that keeps us going.
Yes. No, I mean, thank you for sharing that because, like, there's
Yeah.
such difficult times when you, like, I think anybody, right? Like, who may have a
Yeah.
dream. Hold on, my dog, Parker. Like, really, my dog is like, why are you drinking? I'm in the middle of an interview, but no,
Why are
but
you thirsty?
yeah, like, why are you thirsty right now? And no, but I feel like to have a dream and to want to stay in alignment with what it takes to get there is so
Yes.
it's so difficult. So I feel you. I was just crying to my mama this week, and she was like, "You are so hard on yourself."
Yeah.
So
Cause you see the current state and not
yeah,
the
exactly.
future.
Right, and me and my friend, we talk often about, getting our body to where our mind is, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
My mind has sold a television show, my mind
yeah.
has million-dollar deals, but my body
Mhm.
is still where it is, right? But I gotta learn
Yeah,
to be here in this moment, right?
exactly.
So
Yeah.
so I definitely get that. In meeting you, like, in
Mhm.
experiencing more of you in person, like, you're so grounded. You feel so grounded and
Oh,
you're such a
thanks.
calm energy. And I know on X on Nicole, you mentioned that your personal affirmation is centered around love. So
Uh-huh.
talk to me about like those affirmations and how valuable they are to you in your journey right now.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I really do try to stay grounded, and I try to make sure I'm not too much of one thing, right? So, like, as a Virgo, I'm naturally like organized and I'm naturally career driven. But I believe that God wants us to have it all. And so my affirmation this year is to not only just love my friends, like, I feel like I've been on this journey where, like, I have love and friendship and I have self-love and I'm thankful for that. And now I want an affirmation where, like, I have romantic love, and cuz
Yes.
I want the career, but I don't want that to be just everything. So I'm putting that out there, and
Yes, it's
yeah.
done. I can't wait to see you and your
Yeah.
boo. Okay. I can't wait to meet your boo.
Thank you.
No, I love that. I think, oftentimes when we're talking about like finding a job and community, the phrase that comes up is your network is your net worth, right?
Yeah.
when we're thinking about or when we're trying to expand our network, I feel like it can feel very intimidating because it's like, how do I create an authentic relationship with someone, right?
Mhm.
What advice or insight or tips do you have when it comes to expanding our networks in a genuine way?
Yeah, I think one thing I try to always connect with people, but then I like to stay connected. Like I
Mhm.
like to check in. I think that's key. And then I like to pay attention to details. Like I know so many people who I guess because of our attention span, so many people like scroll social media and don't really read. Like they might even double tap stuff and like it, but
Right.
they're not being present. And I think that
Mhm.
that's something that we don't pay attention to. So I think I stay present and that's a gift because even though I haven't talked to somebody in years, when we do talk, I can recall like, "Oh yeah, last week you were on this podcast," or like
Mhm.
just paying attention to little things because people remember how you make them feel. Like I remember I interned for this lady when I was first starting off, and like I'm an AKA and she was an AKA, but she was like more experienced in her career, and so I really looked up to her. And we've had conversations before, but she wasn't that. I feel like she wasn't that present when it came to her company. Um, and I just remember how that made me feel. Like one time we were talking like multiple times, and she was like, "Oh yeah, oh wait, you're AKA," like, and it was just like, "I've told you this numerous times," you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And so
Yeah.
I didn't really feel seen and appreciated,
Right. I feel that.
you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So,
And I feel like I agree with you. I love to remember like a detail about somebody, or I know when somebody like I saw somebody at an event and she was like, "You're unscripted, right?" It's like, ma'am, everybody. I mean, like if you know me really, then you know I'm in
yeah.
unscripted. Like,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
get it, but we've talked, me and her have communicated multiple times. Now everybody not
yeah.
gonna know that right off the bat, but I've communicated with her multiple times, and but I
What
was
does scripted mean? Like you're in front of the camera?
no, scripted is like scripts, so like fiction, so Snowfall, anything that Shonda
Got
Rhimes
it.
does, but unscripted is like, Issa show, Sweet Life and Love is Blind, the shows that are
Okay.
like so there's reality, there's unscripted, and then there's scripted television.
Also like nonfiction.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay,
nonfiction
yeah, yeah,
is the
yeah.
world that I live in, and then it's like,
That's
yeah.
fiction.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, that makes
I'm in
sense.
docs. I'm in doc series, but that's a small example of just like somebody not being aware of or paying attention to your
Mhm.
life, And I get it, we're
Yeah,
all busy, but it is nice when you're trying to build relationships to be
mhm,
able to say, "Hey, I see you," in some
yeah,
way. So
yeah.
are
It
you oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's I think that's the importance of connections. Is like to also bring value to your community. So, when you do check in with people or you run into them, it comes across organic and authentic when you can remember and know what they're doing, and then support them and see like, hey, it's been a while. Like, how can I help you? So, I definitely try to
Right.
do that in the midst of this busy world. So, what are you gonna say?
No, I feel like, and I wanna speak to that point. I feel like
Uh huh.
in terms of capacity, like, the more that I started to have, to do more things that I was in alignment with, the more I had capacity to show up for people, to make sure that I was building genuine connections, right? Because I think sometimes we get so busy, busy, busy doing a bunch of stuff, but if
Mm-hmm.
connections are important to us, how are we making sure that we're creating capacity for that? Um, like 2 more questions.
Mhm. Oh, wait, can I add something too?
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
I think also that goes back to what I was saying is like being clear on what you want because you wanna add value. You don't wanna be known as a person that's just seen everywhere, and then you're making
Mm,
connections with people who you can't provide value to, they can't provide you, so now you just know a whole bunch of people for what?
mm,
So,
mm.
I think we should be the word is that I'm focusing on this year and as I get older is intentionality, like make connections with people who align with what you want. And I think that can, like you said, prevent us from just being all over the place.
Right. Now that's good. Okay. 2 questions. I'm a book girl. I like to provide the audience with book recommendations.
Yes, love that.
What are your top
Literally, I
2?
have a book right here. That is so crazy.
Yes, what is it?
Hold
What is it?
on. Okay, so it's Black Manager.
Ooh, okay. Talk to us.
Yes. Okay. So I call my uncle cousin because he's my cousin, but he's older. He gave me this book because I was an entrepreneur basically my whole career life. So HBO, and then of course, we met at Blavity. So I've done 9 to 5s before, but like I never considered myself a corporate girl.
Mm.
So I feel like the past 2 years, I'm new to this world. So this book is basically it's the black manager making it in the corporate world. It was written, I think, like in the 70s.
Mm.
I'm lying, maybe the 90s, or early 90s.
Okay.
But it's crazy because everything's still so relevant as far as like operating, maneuvering through the corporate world, and knowing your value, and just it was really good guidance. I'm still reading it, but if you're in corporate, definitely read that. Even not, I think it's just like it's guidance to how to be like a black leader.
Okay. I was gonna ask, like, even as an entrepreneur or some a
Hmm.
creative entrepreneur, do you think that book could be helpful?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
what are you enjoying right now outside of work, outside of, being a leader, outside of being a CEO? What are you
Hmm.
enjoying in terms of TV, podcasts? Like, what's exciting you right now?
You know what? What's exciting me is deep things. Like I I've been living on my own for probably like almost 2 years here in LA, like with no roommates or anything. So I feel like I'm in the middle of my career as far as like not struggling, but also not made it. So
Mm.
I'm in the point of my life where I'm just really like reflecting on things. I'm journaling. I'm reading like old journals, entries, because
Yeah.
I've been journaling since I moved to LA. So like I literally have journal entries, like in 2019, and I'm like woke up, $20, not sure I'm gonna get to work, like
Wow. Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow.
Wow.
So just everything, I think just reflection is exciting me, spending like me time, and then working, finding opportunities, resting.
Mm.
To answer your question, I feel like everything is exciting me.
Ooh. I love that, and I just wanna say I read my journal entries too, and, yo,
Yeah.
it'd be like, "Okay, God, you got me through that. I know you can
Yes.
get me through this." So, no, I love
Always.
reflection, and I love that everything is exciting you. That's what I'm saying. You just get me
Yeah.
so present in your body, in your mind, in the moment
I
that
have to.
no, I love it. It's
Yeah.
something that I'm actively working on with because I just recently discovered how much anxiety I have. So being
Yeah.
present is definitely a good antidote. But thank you for
Of
joining me
course.
today. Like I'm so grateful. Is there anything else you want to share with the audience before I let you go?
No, I have a question for you
Oh,
actually.
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
um, what are you excited the most for? I don't know if you've answered this before on your platform, but what are you excited the most for Creative Women Wanted? Because I love it. I love everything about it.
Thank you. I'm excited to I'm really excited to like keep having these conversations, to be honest. Like I just
Hmm.
want to keep talking to black women in television because that's who it's for, right? So I'm excited to bring you on because you have a different perspective, right? Like you help
Yeah.
black women in media find jobs. But I'm just
Yeah.
excited, and I'll say as a director, as a creator, I'm
Hmm.
excited to create. Like
Love
I
that.
just want to keep creating. I feel like I've kind of been focused on healing, which is great. And now I want
Yeah.
to use that different energy to make sure that I'm creating more, right? Like I really want it to be a cycle,
Mm.
heal and create,
Mhm.
So thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. Because I think that's one thing. I think creativity, it reminds you that you are alive. I think to be alive is
Yeah.
to create, right? So love
Yes,
that for you.
absolutely. I just realized like I feel it's as important as drinking water. Like creating
Yeah.
has to be as important as drinking water. I think sometimes it's like, oh, I gotta use my creativity to make something. But
Hmm.
sometimes it's like just the way of being, like to be
Mm.
creative. So all
Yeah.
right, anyway, I know I could go on and on with you, but thank you so
Yeah.
much for
Thank you
joining.
for having me.
How did you like that interview, y'all? I loved our conversation and it kept going after we got off of the recording. But I really enjoyed that. Please get tapped into her community. Please follow her at Tosh J MACKK on Instagram and make sure you're following at Black Girls in Media and make sure you're following at Creative Women Wanted on Instagram and me at The Real Diamond. If you like this, if you like this podcast, make sure you subscribe, you're following, make sure you rate and review. All right, because reviews are money, honey. Okay, because it gets more people talking about what we're doing and it gets more people involved and listening So thank y'all so much again for listening. I will talk to you soon.